Behold, the complete collection of Howard the Duck.
This copy here of Miss Marvel #1.
The first full appearance of Wolverine.
The 70s were an exciting time for comic books in the USA. Kids everywhere were diving into colorful pages filled with heroes, adventures, and thrilling tales. It was an era when comic books became a huge part of growing up, with characters that inspired and stories that sparked imagination. Popular superheroes like Spider-Man, Batman, and the X-Men captured young readers' hearts. Kids collected and traded these comics, eager to see what happened next in the stories. From superhero action to science fiction and beyond, the comic books of the 1970s were an unforgettable experience for many. So join us as we explore 20 famous comic books from the 1970s that every kid had.
For the original and decent condition, 2,000, 3,000, yeah, I'd have to take out a second mortgage on my home just to afford a copy.
Number 1. Amazing Spider-Man number 121, 1973. Amazing Spider-Man 121, published in 1973, is a comic book issue that stands out as one of the most emotional stories in Spider-Man's history. Titled The Night Gwen Stacy Died, this issue takes readers on a dramatic journey with Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man. The story revolves around a climactic battle with the Green Goblin, one of Spider-Man's most dangerous enemies. Gwen Stacy, Peter's girlfriend, is taken hostage by the Green Goblin and held at the top of a bridge. In the fight to save her, Spider-Man uses his webbing, but it snaps Gwen's neck, leading to her tragic death. This moment was a significant turning point in the Spider-Man series, showing that even superheroes couldn't permanently save the day. It was a powerful and shocking event that stunned readers and changed how comic book stories were told, making it an unforgettable part of Spider-Man's legacy.
Read this in its entirety was a treat for me. And even though, this was the print date on this was August 1971, drugs are a big problem.
Number 2. Green Lantern Green Arrow number 85, 1971. In 1971, Green Lantern Green Arrow 85 made comic book history by addressing a serious social issue, drug addiction. This was a big deal because comics usually avoided such heavy topics. The story centers on Green Arrow's sidekick Speedy, who gets caught using drugs. This revelation shocks Green Arrow and Green Lantern, representing law and order. The comic didn't just talk about drugs, it showed the emotional impact on friends and mentors. By exposing the dangers of drug use, it opened readers' eyes to a problem that was often ignored. The artwork and writing were bold, illustrating a darker side of society and making people think. The issue helped change how comics approach real-life problems, showing that they weren't just for kids, but could address mature themes. But why did kids of the 70s have X-Men number 94 in their bags?
Very same thing is true for the green edge at the right. It really looks beautiful here, and I've seen plenty of copies where that's all dinged up.
Number 3. X-Men number 94, 1975. X-Men number 94, released in 1975, marks a pivotal turning point for the X-Men comic series. The issue starts fresh for the superhero team, introducing a new lineup and launching the era of writer Chris Claremont, who would become a legendary figure in X-Men history. With this issue, the classic team of Cyclops, Jean Grey, and others welcome new members like Storm, Colossus, and Nightcrawler, along with Wolverine, who quickly becomes a fan favorite. The storyline exposes the dynamics between the old and new team members as they face new challenges and learn to work together. X-Men number 94 set the stage for thrilling adventures, bringing the X-Men back into the spotlight after a brief hiatus. The fresh characters and exciting storytelling revitalized the series, attracting new fans. With Chris Claremont's distinctive approach, the X-Men would become one of the most popular superhero teams of the 1970s and beyond.
Comics to debut, not just this week, but as a year as a whole. This one's had a lot of build-up and a lot of anticipation, as Conan the Barbarian.
Number 4. Conan the Barbarian number 1, 1970. In 1970, Marvel launched a new comic book series with Conan the Barbarian number 1, introducing readers to the fierce warrior Conan, a character created by Robert E. Howard. This first issue sets the stage for Conan's epic adventures, filled with sword fights, mythical creatures, and ancient magic. Unlike typical superheroes with capes and high-tech gadgets, Conan was a brute force warrior with raw strength and cunning. The artwork by Barry Windsor Smith brought the world of Conan to life with detailed illustrations of epic battles and fantastical landscapes. The intense storytelling featured darker themes than other comics at the time. This new style captured readers' imaginations, drawing them into Conan's world of danger and excitement. Conan the Barbarian #1 became a huge success, leading to a long-running series and establishing Conan as a central character in Marvel's universe. But how did Batman become a considerable success among 70s kids?
And what makes this one so interesting is they took the classic Adams artwork, but if you notice, they removed the Coven mask.
Number 5. Batman #227, 1970. Batman #227, released in 1970, is a beloved issue that holds a special place in the hearts of Batman fans. This comic is famous for its striking cover, which pays tribute to the classic Detective Comics #31 from 1939. The cover art, designed by the legendary Neal Adams, depicts Batman standing tall and imposing in front of a spooky castle, with the bat signal illuminating the night sky. It's a haunting and atmospheric image that instantly captures attention. Inside the issue, readers find an intriguing story featuring Batman in his detective role, solving a mystery involving a wealthy family's dark secrets. The suspense and gothic setting create a gripping narrative, making it a collector's favorite. Over the years, Batman #227 has become a highly sought-after comic book, valued for its iconic cover and compelling storyline. It's a must-have for Batman enthusiasts and a memorable piece of 1970s comic book history.
There aren't many covers out there for in the first place, and of course, the #1 issue is the most desirable.
Number 6. Swamp Thing #1, 1972. Swamp Thing #1, released in 1972, marked the first appearance of Swamp Thing, a character who would play a significant role in the DC universe. Written by Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson, Swamp Thing differed from typical superheroes. He wasn't a guy in a cape, but a creature made of plants emerging from a tragic backstory. The story centered around a scientist named Alec Holland, who transformed into Swamp Thing after a terrible accident in his laboratory. He became a creature with superhuman strength and a deep connection to the environment. This new type of hero was more in tune with nature and the earth, and he faced unique challenges while dealing with his new identity. Swamp Thing #1's eerie atmosphere and gothic artwork captured readers' interest. It was a mix of horror and superhero storytelling, with moody swamps, shadowy scenes, and chilling adventures. The scene of this comic book helped Swamp Thing become a beloved character known for his environmentally solid themes and complex emotions. Swamp Thing had its place, but could Ms. Marvel overshadow all the allure of Swamp Thing?
This copy here of Ms. Marvel #1. Now, if you're not familiar with this particular comic, this is the first time that Carol Danvers suits up as a superhero.
Number 7. Ms. Marvel #1, 1977. Ms. Marvel #1, published in 1977, marks the debut of Carol Danvers as Ms. Marvel, introducing a groundbreaking female superhero to the Marvel Universe. Carol Danvers was a former U.S. Air Force officer who gained superpowers from a fusion of Kree alien DNA during an accident. This comic book explores her journey as she discovers her newfound abilities, which include super strength, flight, and energy projection. The issue highlights Carol's struggle to balance her human identity with her superhero role, presenting her as a solid and determined character. This new superhero quickly became a role model for many readers, demonstrating courage and resilience. The introduction of Ms. Marvel was significant because it brought more diversity to the Marvel Universe and paved the way for other female superheroes. Ms. Marvel #1 is a must-have for comic book collectors and remains celebrated in 1970s comic book history.
I am holding a first appearance of Hulk and Thor right now, and these used to be PGX graded. Let's get into it.
Number 8. The Avengers '83, 1970. In 1970, the Avengers number 83 introduced the Lady Liberators, a groundbreaking all-female Avengers team, signaling an early embrace of feminist themes in comics. This issue stood out because it featured powerful women taking center stage in a world often dominated by male superheroes. The team included characters like Valkyrie, Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, and the Wasp. The story begins with the Lady Liberators coming together to challenge the existing Avengers, suggesting the women were tired of being sidelined. The twist came when it was revealed that Valkyrie, the group's leader, was the villain Enchantress in disguise, manipulating the others for her plans. Despite this, the issue explored themes of gender equality and women standing up for themselves. The Avengers number 83 was a notable step towards more diverse comic representation. It showed that female superheroes could be as powerful and impactful as their male counterparts, inspiring young readers and paving the way for more inclusive stories in the future.
So this is where Jack Kirby kicked off this Fourth World story. It all starts building from here.
Number 9. Jack Kirby's Fourth World number 1, 1971. Jack Kirby's Fourth World number 1, released in 1971, marks the beginning of one of comic book legend Jack Kirby's most ambitious projects. In this series, Kirby introduced the concept of the New Gods, a new pantheon of powerful beings who exist in a realm beyond Earth. The story revolves around the battle between the forces of good, led by Highfather and the peaceful New Genesis, and the forces of evil, led by Darkseid, who rules the brutal world of Apocalypse. The series explores epic themes of cosmic warfare, prophecy, and the struggle between light and darkness. Fourth World number 1 set the stage for a complex saga that would span multiple titles, including New Gods, Forever People, and Mr. Miracle. It brought a new level of creativity to comic book storytelling with Kirby's bold artwork and imaginative character designs.
The print date on this book was August 1977. And for this time, again, big names on this book, so Snowfall.
Number 10. Iron Fist number 14, 1977. Iron Fist number 14 was published in 1977. It became an iconic comic book because it introduced Sabretooth, a fierce and powerful villain who would later become one of the X-Men's most notorious enemies. In this issue, Iron Fist, a martial arts superhero, faced off against Sabretooth, whose animal-like strength and ferocity made him a formidable opponent. The comic was notable for its intense action scenes, with Iron Fist's precise kung fu moves contrasting Sabretooth's brute force and savage fighting style. Sabretooth's debut showed readers his menacing personality and hinted at his darker connections to Wolverine, an essential X-Men character. This first encounter between Iron Fist and Sabretooth set the stage for many battles in the broader Marvel Universe, not just in Iron Fist stories. Sabretooth's raw aggression and ruthless tactics made him an unforgettable villain, and his debut in Iron Fist number 14 was a memorable moment for 1970s comic book fans. The issue is still sought after by collectors, partly because it marked the beginning of Sabretooth's legacy as one of Marvel's most iconic villains. The Iron Fist was a must-have, but the Tomb of Dracula was no less. The kids of the 70s can surely resonate with that.
These Visionaries are books that are out of print as well. You can get the Marvel Essential Tomb of Dracula, the black and white editions, which also unfortunately are out of print with us.
Number 11. Tomb of Dracula number 10, 1973. Tomb of Dracula number 10, published in 1973, is a unique comic book introducing Blade, the vampire hunter. Blade is a unique character with a fierce attitude and the skills to take on vampires and other supernatural creatures. This issue shows Blade's first encounter with Dracula, the most famous vampire, as he hunts him down to stop his evil plans. Blade is a skilled fighter who uses swords, stakes, and unique abilities to battle the undead. His fearless nature and cool style quickly made him a fan favorite, leading to his comic book series and later blockbuster movies. Tomb of Dracula number 10 is an exciting issue filled with action and suspense, and it's a must-have for collectors because it marks the beginning of Blade's journey. The character's popularity grew from this first appearance, eventually making him one of Marvel's most iconic vampire hunters.
Okay, the actual date is for the original one is November of 1974. This is the first full appearance of Wolverine.
Number 12, The Incredible Hulk number 181, 1974. The Incredible Hulk number 181, published in 1974, is a milestone in Marvel Comics because it marks the first full appearance of Wolverine, one of the most beloved characters in the Marvel Universe. This comic introduces Wolverine as a fierce, clawed mutant with a short temper and a talent for combat. The story begins with the Hulk fighting the Wendigo, a monster from Canadian folklore in the wilderness. Wolverine enters the scene and is sent by the Canadian government to capture the Hulk. This leads to an epic three-way battle between Hulk, Wendigo, and Wolverine, showcasing Wolverine's agility, strength, and claws. Wolverine's personality, with his gruff demeanor and fearless attitude, instantly captivates readers. Although he started as a minor character, his popularity skyrocketed, eventually becoming a vital member of the X-Men. The Incredible Hulk number 181 became a prized collectible, not just for its iconic battles, but also for introducing a character who would shape the future of Marvel Comics. But what about the Sandman? How did it carry itself in the bags of 70s kids?
And it looks like the Sandman character should belong to, and that's where I thought it was going, belong to the New Gods.
Number 13, The Sandman number 1, 1974. The Sandman number 1, published in 1974, is a comic book that introduces a new version of the Sandman during the Bronze Age of comics. This Sandman is different from Neil Gaiman's later series, focusing on a superhero named Garrett Sanford, known for his ability to control dreams. The story explores the world of dreams and nightmares, with the Sandman using his powers to protect people from various threats in their sleep. In this issue, readers meet the Sandman as he embarks on an adventure to stop an evil being that seeks to cause havoc in people's dreams. The character wears a distinctive costume with a sand-filled pouch and a gas mask, which helps him enter the dream world. Although The Sandman number 1 is not as well known as Gaiman's series, it has a unique historical place.
Now, poor old Black Widow, she's still got a picture there of Black Widow, but she's just become co-starring.
Number 14, Daredevil number 131, 1976. Daredevil number 131, published in 1976, is a significant comic book because it introduced Bullseye, who would become Daredevil's archenemy. Bullseye is known for his extraordinary aim, able to turn any object into a deadly weapon with incredible precision. This unique ability made him one of Daredevil's most dangerous foes. In this issue, Daredevil, the blind superhero with heightened senses, encounters Bullseye for the first time. The story showcases Bullseye's uncanny accuracy and ruthless nature, making him a formidable opponent for Daredevil. As the plot unfolds, it's clear that Bullseye is more than just a hitman. He's a cold-blooded killer who enjoys the thrill of the hunt. Daredevil number 131 stands out for its intense action scenes and the dynamic between Daredevil and Bullseye. The clash between Daredevil's acrobatics and Bullseye's precision created a thrilling storyline that captivated readers. The introduction of Bullseye in this comic laid the groundwork for future epic battles between the two, establishing a rivalry central to Daredevil's character.
You're put on a Morbius omnibus, which is like a bunch of appearances and arcs, but you still have yet to release an old school Ghost Rider omnibus? I mean, come on.
Number 15, Ghost Rider number 1, 1973. Ghost Rider number 1, published in 1973, is the first comic book dedicated entirely to Ghost Rider, focusing on the story of Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze is a stunt motorcyclist who makes a dangerous deal with the devil to save his mentor's life. In return, he is cursed to become the Ghost Rider, a skeletal figure with a flaming skull who rides a motorcycle at night seeking vengeance and justice. This issue explores Johnny Blaze's transformation into Ghost Rider, his struggle with the curse, and his determination to use his power for good despite the dark forces surrounding him. The artwork showcases Ghost Rider's fiery bike and intense battles with evil creatures and villains. Ghost Rider number 1 became an instant hit with readers, capturing their imagination with supernatural themes, action, and striking visuals. It's a must-have for comic book collectors and remains a classic from the 1970s. Ghost Rider might have conquered everything, but could it be more mysterious than the House of Secrets?
The first appearance of Swamp Thing, House of Secrets 92. It's a 5.0 from CGC.
Number 16, House of Secrets number 92, 1971. House of Secrets 92, published in 1971, is a legendary comic book because it marked the first appearance of Swamp Thing, a unique character in the DC universe. Swamp Thing is a humanoid creature made of plants and other swamp elements, and his story is both tragic and mysterious. In this issue, the story is set in a spooky mansion where Alex Olson, a scientist, is betrayed by his colleague, who causes an explosion in the laboratory to get rid of him. The explosion sends Alex into the swamp, where he undergoes a bizarre transformation, becoming the Swamp Thing. Despite his monstrous appearance, Alex retains his sense of justice and humanity. The comic has a dark and eerie atmosphere and haunting artwork by Bernie Wrightson. The story's blend of horror and heroism captivated readers, making Swamp Thing an instant hit. The success of House of Secrets number 92 led to a dedicated Swamp Thing series, where the character would explore themes of nature, humanity, and redemption.
Oh, there's some Punisher.
Oh,
nice.
Beautiful. Wow, we are just like, this is a good box.
Number 17, The Amazing Spider-Man number 129, 1974. The Amazing Spider-Man number 129, released in 1974, is a significant comic book because it marks the first appearance of the Punisher, one of Marvel's most iconic anti-heroes. The Punisher, also known as Frank Castle, is a former Marine who becomes vigilant after the mob kills his family. He becomes a ruthless crime fighter, using his military skills and weapons to take down criminals. In this issue, the Punisher is hired to hunt down Spider-Man, believing him to be a threat. However, as the story unfolds, he discovers that another villain, the Jackal, has manipulated him, leading to a showdown with Spider-Man. The introduction of the Punisher brought a darker and more violent character to the Marvel Universe, appealing to readers who wanted a more intense and gritty hero. The Amazing Spider-Man number 129 is a highly sought-after issue, showcasing the Punisher's debut and his complex relationship with Spider-Man.
Super Squad, featuring the Justice Society of Superheroes. This is number 58.
Number 18, All-Star Comics number 58, 1976. All-Star Comics number 58, published in 1976, is exceptional in DC Comics because it introduced Power Girl, a new superheroine who brought a fresh dynamic to the DC universe. Power Girl, whose real name is Kara Zor-El, is from Krypton, just like Superman. This connection made her a powerful addition to the superhero roster, with strength, speed, and heat vision. In this issue, Power Girl joins the Justice Society of America, the world's first superhero team. She quickly makes her presence known with her confident attitude and formidable abilities. Power Girl's introduction marked a shift towards more female superheroes, showcasing her strength and independence. All-Star Comics number 58 was notable for breaking stereotypes about women in comics. Power Girl wasn't just a sidekick or a background character, she was a hero in her own right. However, Richie Rich was a classic comic book series filled with charming stories that continue to be enjoyed by readers of all ages, wasn't it?
And especially if they get a self-titled comic. So this is Richie Rich's first comic by himself.
Number 19, Richie Rich number 1, 1970. Richie Rich number 1, published in 1970, kicks off one of the most popular comic book series about the adventures of the world's richest boy. Richie Rich is a young boy with everything anyone could ever want: money, luxury, and fancy toys. But he's also kind-hearted and generous. This comic follows Richie as he uses his wealth to help others and go on fun adventures with his friends and family. The issue showcases Richie Rich's world, from his vast mansion to his gadgets and inventions. It also introduces readers to his friends like Gloria and his loyal butler, Cadbury, and his mischievous pets like Dollar the dog. Richie Rich number 1 has a lighthearted and humorous tone, appealing to younger audiences who enjoy seeing a kid using his resources for good.
Pages in the history of the comic book medium. Behold, The complete collection of Howard the Duck, Volume 1.
Number 20, Howard the Duck number 1, 1976. Howard the Duck number 1, published in 1976, is a unique comic book that became a cult classic thanks to its quirky hero and satirical storytelling. Howard the Duck is not your typical superhero. He's a talking duck from another dimension stranded on Earth, trying to navigate a world full of strange people and even stranger situations. The comic's creator, Steve Gerber, used Howard the Duck to poke fun at popular culture, politics, and the superhero genre. Howard's sarcastic and cynical attitude made him an unlikely but relatable hero. He didn't have superpowers or a flashy costume. Instead, he relied on his wit and a knack for getting into trouble. Howard the Duck number 1 gained a following because it was different from other comics at the time. It was bold, funny, and willing to tackle social issues lightheartedly. This comic book captured the imagination of readers looking for something offbeat and fresh, proving that a talking duck could be just as engaging as any superhero.